This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323read, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323read. That's 323REID. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reed Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain. Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
Good morning, college football fans, and welcome to week 7 of the college football season. I am your host, Scott Ellia, and this is College Shame Day presented by the 323 Network. Boy, oh boy, was week 6 one for the ages. I think there's been enough coverage for the what turned the college football world upside down in the upset victory of Vanderbilt over Alabama, and I couldn't think of another team that was more deserving of a loss and a kick in the nuts like the Alabama Crimson Tide. But two people really quick before we get into a recap of last week who don't deserve a kick in the nuts. First and foremost, the winner of the inaugural College Shame Day Fanatics gift card giveaway that we do monthly here on Shame Day. He received it. Everything is good to go. And unfortunately, I heard that he's going to be buying some not some college gear, but he's going to get some Dallas Cowboy stuff. So for fans of the show who know me on the NFL side of everything here at the 323 Network, you understand how much I despise Dallas Cowboys. So it hurt me. It pained me deep in the soul. But hey, maybe next month, somebody who will win it will get something that I will also support them having, because it's not going anywhere. You guys seem to like it, so we're going to keep it going. And to remind you, don't miss out on this monthly giveaway to get a chance to win that $25 Fanatics gift card to grab your own favorite team's college game day gear. Very easy to get. Just all you got to do, just follow the Instagram page at 323 College Shame Day for a chance to win. And of course, you'll gain some extra entries based off likes, comments, sharings of posts, activity that you do over there on the Instagram page. So please do not miss out on a chance to win the first show of every month. So we are about a month away from that, about 3 or 4 weeks from that. So get your likes in there, get your subscribes in there for a chance to win. And also another person who doesn't deserve a kick in the nuts, somebody who actually follows the Instagram page, and I'm hoping that he actually ends up winning this Fanatics gift card next month, because all he seems to do is win, and that is Mr. Artie. He won, and he won big. I think we're going to have to start taking some advice from him here in Shane Day when it comes to the Wheel of Degenerate, because he did not miss. He asked me for some advice on a parlay he had last week going on. It was all riding on the final game of the Cowboys at the Steelers, and he was asking for advice if he should fade himself on the Cowboys game. And there's one rule of thumb we have here at the 323 Network. Unless you're Zuhair Ali of the Animation Deliberation podcast, we don't fade ourselves. You never fade. You go all in. You ride that wave for all it's worth, because he turned $100 into a cool $4,500. So congratulations to you, Artie. I'm definitely going to be getting your insight on some parlays here in the future. But that's that. Congratulations to those two winners who won big. A little bit of a recap from last week, starting out with the game of the week of number 23 Indiana at Northwestern. Curtis Rourke led the number 23 Indiana Hoosiers to its 41-24 victory over Northwestern with 380 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Indiana remains unbeaten at 6-0, matching its best season start since 1967. Congratulations to Kurt Cignetti and team there in Indiana. Also Indiana also had 149 rushing yards with Justice Ellison and Tyson Lawton each scoring a rushing touchdown. Of course, Elijah Surratt contributed with 135 receiving yards as well on 7 catches. So the offense there in Indiana looks to be not slowing down anytime soon. Now, on the other side of the field, Northwestern's quarterback Jack Losh, he did have a bounce back game with 243 passing yards and 2 touchdowns as well. So congrats to him. Despite Northwestern's offensive efforts, their defense just struggled to stop Indiana, especially in the second half. Indiana scored touchdowns on consecutive drives to secure their win after Northwestern closed the gap from 27 to 24. So they hit the gas and they kept on moving. In Indiana, they really thrived this season, despite a largely new roster, like we talked about last week, and that little highlight for them, bringing in 31 transfers, a lot of folks from that JMU team that Kurt Cignetti had coached prior. And they've just continued to emphasize team culture and their win now mindset. The Hoosiers have a number 3 ranked scoring offense, continued strong performance, totaling over 500 yards and scoring 40 plus points for the 5th time this season. Northwestern's defense struggled with his tackles, allowed 7 straight scoring drives and a key 52-yard play by Keyshawn Williams. Indiana's defense had issues stopping Northwestern at times, but their offense thankfully carried them throughout the game. Northwestern showed improvement and resilience, providing one of Indiana's toughest challenges this season. Now, up next, Indiana does have a bye week this week, but they'll be hosting Nebraska on October 19th. But Northwestern will be facing Maryland in College Park. But congrats to Indiana, because they are now alongside Oklahoma, ranked 18 in the AP. I feel like if they keep winning out like this, they're going to probably be that little engine that little darling Cinderella story you hear every single season in college football, who might be vying for a college football playoff spot with the expanded 12-team playoff. But I guess I'll kick myself in the nuts, because as far as another recap goes for Wheel of Degenerate, we missed again, folks. And Artie, I think this is when we're going to need you, man. I think we might need you next week. This was a very close week. Very close week. We did hit on Indiana minus 13.5 against that Northwestern team. We also hit on Ohio State minus 18.5 against Iowa. We missed back-to-back with Georgia minus 22.5 against Auburn. I felt they were going to kind of, after that Alabama loss, they were going to come out guns a-blazing, but Auburn just kind of hung in there a little bit. Too close for liking, and we missed there. And we also missed on Baylor plus 11.5 against Iowa State. Iowa State's another one of these teams that are coming out of nowhere. I believe as it stands right now, Iowa State is ranked 11th in the nation. They are also 5-0. I'm very excited to see what the Cyclones are going to be doing for the rest of the season. But one hit that I'm glad we hit on, because again, fuck Dave Portnoy, fuck Barstool Sports for taking their little parlay wheel builder that they obviously stole from us, because we hit on Washington's money line against Michigan, and I loved every minute of that game. Speaking of things that I'm loving every minute of, my team to watch from here on out. We rolled this out last week. Reed and I, of course, he's not here with us right now today. Apparently he has better things to do than talk to me for an hour. But oh well, it is what it is. I guess I'll just talk to you folks. Texas A&M, they have shot up the poll 10 spots to 15. Currently number 1 in the SEC, followed by number 1 Texas. Now, they did drop that opening game to Notre Dame 23-13, but they've been on fire since. Last week, they won at home against Missouri 41-10. Missouri is one of those other SEC teams that can compete for an SEC championship and potentially a college football playoff spot. But they're catching fire at the right time. They got some big games left on the docket. They have LSU at home coming up. They're on the road against South Carolina, which might be a sneaky game they could drop. Same thing, they're on the road against Auburn. Auburn might want to play spoiler. I believe that's their penultimate game this season. And then, of course, all eyes will be on Texas A&M last week of the season, because they'll be hosting Texas. That's right, the Texas Longhorns at home, the very final game of the season. So that'll be fun to watch. Something else that's fun to watch, because not only do I have a team that I'm keeping an eye on, but I'm also keeping another player to keep an eye on, and somebody who you can kind of point to being the reason why the Texas A&M Aggies have been so successful, and that's their running back, Le'Veon Moss. Of course, we talked about Boise State's Ashton Jeanty last week. He's having a record-setting season, folks, right now. I mean, if you go back and you look at the last 2 running backs to win the Heisman Trophy, he is just blowing their stats out the water, and I don't see that man slowing down anytime soon. But It's definitely making him a top candidate for the Heisman Trophy this year, as well as the best running back in college football. Of course, Genty is widely considered far ahead of other running backs, but Texas A&M's Le'Veon Moss is making a case for being the second best in the nation. Moss leads the SEC in rushing yards of 609 while having only the third most carries of 88 in the conference, ranking 7th in the nation for rushing yards despite being tied for 17th in total carries. So he's making the most of every opportunity he can possibly get. Even though he only has 6 total touchdowns this season, this is partly because other Texas A&M players like Amari Daniels and Marcel Reed have scored several touchdowns this season. Moss has also proven his scoring ability with 3 of his 12 carries resulting in touchdowns during a 138-yard game against then number 9 Missouri, and 2 scores on just 9 carries against McNeese State. I mean, surprise, surprise. When's the last time you ever heard about anybody coming out of McNeese State? I don't know. Not me. Now, while Ashton Genty is expected to win the Doak Walker Award this season and remain the Heisman frontrunner, Moss is firmly in the conversation as the second best running back in the country. And it's not always about being the best, folks. I think we all know that. I know Reed knows that all too well as well, especially when it comes to NFL production and draft stock and things of that nature. As long as he hangs in there with the likes of Ashton Genty and he has a stellar season this year, and if he decides to come out, go to the combine, perform well there, I think that's just going to further help his draft stock in the future. Now, the number 15 Aggies, they'll face Mississippi State on Saturday, October 19th, following their bye week this week. So another week of rest for Le'Veon Moss. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do against Mississippi State. But folks, before we get into, game of the week, lame of the week, and of course, the pinnacle, the cherry on top to the Sunday of the Saturday morning's best show, College Shame Day, the Wheel of Degenerate. College football is in just a whirlwind of crazy allegations and changes and arrests and all sorts of things. And of course, let's just get this out the way, because I'm tired of having to talk about this every single week, but it just seems like things just change constantly day to day. And that's the SEC and the Big Ten, teaming up. Recently had a meeting. Commissioners Greg Sankey of the SEC and Tom Petittis. That's how I'm going to have to say it from now on, of the Big Ten, held an important meeting to address pressing college athletic issues, particularly the NCAA's upcoming House settlement. Both strongly have opposed private equity involvement to offset costs, stating that their conferences can manage the situation independently. But this partnership, they're viewing it, with purpose. Despite speculation, the commissioners denied claims that the SEC and the Big Ten are separating from other conferences, emphasizing leadership within the broader collegiate ecosystem. But the two conferences are still exploring ways to schedule more football and basketball matchups between the SEC and Big Ten schools. Sankey has pushed for rapid changes in Division I governance, calling the current structure outdated. I think we're all in agreement there. I think the NCAA governance is completely outdated and unneeded at this point. A lot of these schools and conferences can kind of manage things on their own, especially when it comes to TV deals and, handling the recruiting structure and things of that nature. I would be very interested to see what the future of just the NCAA as an institution from here on out goes, especially in Division I. But there was an emphasis on the importance of a successful launch of the new 12-team college football playoff format starting this season. And of course, they're approaching this with a collaborative approach. Plans to share insights from the meeting with Big 12 and ACC commissioners were discussed, reinforcing their commitment to working together on broader issues. But, if I'm one of these other commissioners in the ACC or the Big 12 or the now alive and well Frankenstein Pac-12, fuck them. Fuck them. If they want to go and meet together with those two, how about you all three start, have this be survival rules. Where's Greg Probst when you need him? Have this go, have an alliance forming, and then maybe they can come to the table and try to figure out what's a good situation for everybody from here on out. Because if you're going to draw the line in the sand, you got to make this work. You got to make this work to figure out who the best and the brightest in college football goes. Speaking about best and brightest, I don't think it's very bright to fake injuries. It seems like a very sleazeball, very shameful thing to do. So shame on you, Ole Miss, for faking some injuries. Recently, Ole Miss has responded to a faking injury claim Ole Miss plans to address concerns about alleged fake injuries during games and has communicated with the SEC and football officiating coordinator Steve Shaw about the matter. Ole Miss released a statement acknowledging the issue and said it provided relevant medical information for the review. Head coach there in Ole Miss will ensure compliance among coaches and players. But there was an incident against South Carolina in a 27-3 win over South Carolina. Several Ole Miss players appeared to be injured after very key plays, raising some suspicion. South Carolina coach Shane Beamer called it a bad look for college football. I mean, you see this across all sports, not just in college football, but you see this in the NFL, you see this in the NBA, all major sports brands here, domestically in the United States and also overseas. I think it's a huge flopping issue in the soccer world that has been loosely addressed. You can still see some issues there, but surprise, surprise, LSU coach Brian Kelly decided to comment, and he referred to the SEC sportsmanship policy, stating that any deliberate fake injuries would result in SEC action. He added the game officials should not be involved in judging injuries. But why shouldn't they be involved in judging injuries? If I'm an official, I'm going out there and I can blatantly see that someone isn't clearly hurt, get up, sit out of play. You know, maybe you want to be a little bit more harsh, and if you're going to be blatantly flopping and faking an injury to gain an extra timeout or extra kind of second to breathe and game plan on the team's next play, then maybe you should be just kicked out the game completely. Have that be an unsportsmanlike contact penalty, just like how targeting can be treated, where you can get disqualified from the matchup for the rest of the game. Maybe that's what you need to do to kind of temper the flopping. Now, as far as NCAA's 2022 policy, teams can report questionable injury scenarios to the national coordinator of officiating, who will communicate with conferences for possible action. But at that point, it's a little bit too late. It's a little too late at that point. I feel like this is something that needs to be in the moment, you know, whether it's in the booth or on the field. But these are issues that need to be addressed in the moment. Speaking about issues that need to be addressed in the moment, what the hell is going on in Georgia? I don't know what is in the water down there in Athens, but of course, another Georgia player is in hot water. Georgia running back Colby Young has been suspended indefinitely. Colby Young, Georgia wide receiver, has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest on a misdemeanor battery and assault charge relating to an unborn child. Absolutely shameful and despicable act. From here, of course, I'll temper my judgment until all the facts come out and everything goes, everything comes to light. But for what we know now, the arrest stems from a dispute with his ex-girlfriend, who alleges that Young physically harmed her during an argument. Young denies the allegations, claiming he did not cause any harm. Young was released on bond, and his attorney expects him to be fully exonerated. Georgia coach Kirby Smart emphasized the seriousness of the situation, the team's commitment to educating players, but he said that time and time again about, Georgia players facing legal issues because, Young's arrest is the latest among several Georgia players facing legal issues in 2024. And of course, Kirby Smart acknowledged the challenges of managing a large group of young players and stressed the importance of leadership and responsibility, but that's what you're getting paid to do, man. You are the grand poobah of Bulldogs football, and you're the one that's ultimately in charge of that locker room. The buck stops at you. If you can't get the locker room and these kids and these young players under control, then maybe you should be moving on. Maybe you're the problem. Like Taylor Swift said, "Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Kirby Smart, it's you. You're the problem at this point." Between, reckless driving and speeding and assault charges and this, that, and the fourth, a laundry list of things going on. There is a issue in Athens, I think, that speaks more to what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. The culture maybe putting winning first and not just humanity first. Some other recent incidents: former Georgia receiver Rodarius Thomas was dismissed from the team in August after being charged with family violence offenses. Like I said, it just seems to be a long line of repeated offenses there in Georgia, so more to come there. My thoughts are with the ex-girlfriend and the unborn child, who are at this point, all I can say is allegedly harmed in the incident. Hopefully everything is okay there. And I hope that when the truth comes to light, that it's handled properly and correctly and quickly. So that way we can try to address any or limit any potential repeat incidents in the future. But before we get into this week's game of the week, one thing that, just sent a ripple effect through the NCAA this week was the NCAA has now eliminated the National Letter of Intent program. It's kind of, when I first saw this, I read it too quickly and I saw NLI and I thought that NIL was going away, but no, that's not going away. That has too much money tied into it. They'd be foolish to get rid of that. No, I'm talking about the NLI program. The National Letter of Intent program was established in 1964 and has been eliminated and replaced by a new financial aid agreement. In that new financial aid agreement, will maintain many of the functions of the NLI and may be linked to future revenue sharing models in college athletics. Now, as far as an impact on transfers, transfer athletes will now be able to sign with new schools once they've entered the portal, with other schools prohibited from recruiting them after they sign a written offer of athletic aid. This decision is part of a broader changes coming from the impending House settlement, which could bring $2.8 billion in damages to athletes and increase athlete compensation by more than $20 million annually. Prior to its elimination, the NLI program had allowed athletes to withdraw without penalties under certain circumstances like coaching changes, which you kind of feel for the kids at that point. I mean, if you are being recruited by a certain head coach and that is the tipping point to the spear that you want to go and play for a certain college football program, and that coach either is let go or he leaves to go on to a new job and things of that nature, like the coaching regime that comes in, they don't owe you anything at that point. So who's to say they have your best interests at mind? Really the only the person who has the best interests at mind would be the person who wanted you to play for them anyways. So I feel like that's kind of something I don't agree with, but I guess I'll just wait and see from here on out. Now, this does also mean that there is going to be future recruiting calendar changes. The NCAA is now focusing on other recruiting changes, particularly for football, with possible modifications to the signing period. The early signing period for the 2025 cycle begins on December 4th of this year, 2024. So I'm interested to see how this just shakes up everything between the early signing period, transfer portal, things of that nature. Maybe this is what's going to fix everything rather than having a fire sale going on in the transfer portal every single season since its inception at this point in the last couple of years. So I guess we'll just wait and see. Something that we won't wait and see. That is the College Shame Day Week 7 Game of the Week. Now, ESPN's College Game Day, which is second to Shame Day, they will be traveling to the Ohio State, who are now ranked number 2, and Oregon, they are ranked number 3, going to their game starting at 7:30 Eastern in Eugene, Oregon. They'll be traveling out west. But like I say all the time, Reed, just open up the wallet, man. Let me go on a plane. Let me be Kirk Herbstreit for a weekend and go travel around and give you some coverage of some of these highly touted games, because we'll get into it when we talk about the Wheel of Degenerate, because this week is chock full of some amazing games. But when you look at it from a 1,000-foot view, there is only one game that stands above the rest because there's some history tied to it. History spanning since for God knows when. That is the all-state Red River rivalry, number 1 Texas versus number 18 Oklahoma Sooners, bringing their long-standing rivalry to the SEC, playing at the State Fair of Texas. This marks the 120th meeting between the two teams, dating back to 1900. And that before sliced bread. I don't know what they were eating at that point. I guess that's where the orange slices originated from. And playing annually at the Cotton Bowl since 1929. Now, Texas does rank number 1 for the first time in 40 years. Faces Oklahoma under their new conference banner of the SEC. Texas coach Steve Sarkisian calls this rivalry unique, and coach Brent Venables praises its pageantry, emotion, intensity. This is one of the top, hell, I would easily put it in the top 3 college football rivalries across all of college football. I mean, you think USC Notre Dame, you think Alabama, I guess Georgia now, but Alabama Auburn, Florida State. I mean, there's so many, Ohio State Michigan. There's so many rivalries out there, but this is definitely the cream of the crop. Now, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers will be starting after missing the last couple games due to an abdomen injury. If you remember, in his last Red River appearance, he led Texas to a 49-0 victory, so I'm hoping that he has a repeat experience this year. Oklahoma their back is up against the wall because they'll be starting true freshman Michael Hawkins Jr. at quarterback. His biggest test yet after winning his first start 2 weeks ago. It's going to be a little daunting though for Michael Hawkins because Oklahoma just came out and released earlier today that Oklahoma will be without leading receiver Deion Burks, who is nursing a soft tissue injury. So fingers crossed for Brett Venables and crew to be able to kind of sneak out of the Cotton Bowl with a victory. Last year's Oklahoma win featured a crucial defensive stop, and Texas has improved significantly in the red zone efficiency this season. As far as keys to victory for Oklahoma, includes protecting Hawkins and forcing some turnovers on defense, as they rank 4th nationally in turnovers gained. Texas has never lost to Oklahoma. Fun fact, never lost to Oklahoma when ranked number 1, and has a strong history of success when topping the AP poll. So if you're a betting man, bet with history and put all your chips in Texas. Thankfully, this both teams should be very well rested because both teams come into the game after both having bye weeks, which is the first time ever that's happened in this rivalry's long history, which I'm surprised. I mean, going back 120 years, this is the first time both teams had a bye week leading into this game. So both should be very well prepared, both very well rested, and I cannot wait to watch that game at 3:30. But the game that I'm not excited for, and even though I will be graduating from ODU in a few short months, they can still get the shade. No one's safe here on Shame Day, because Lame of the Week this week is ODU, who are 1-4, traveling to Atlanta to play Georgia State, who are 2-2. Don't. Folks in and around Old Dominion, go to the beach. Go out, go to some fall festivals, go do anything else. You have no business watching that game this week. Watch something else. You know what? I know something that you can watch. The Wheel of Degenerate. That's right, folks. It is time for the Wheel of Degenerate. The greatest wheel to build a parlay. Second to none. Not even you, Barstool. That's right, not even you. And like I said earlier, the slate of games for these top 25 teams it's perfection. It's stellar. It's going to be a whirlwind weekend again. I don't see this being dull whatsoever. Opening it up, South Carolina traveling to number 7 Alabama, number 10 Clemson on the road against Wake Forest, number 21 Missouri at Massachusetts. The College Shame Day game of the week, number 1 Texas at 18 Oklahoma, number 4 Penn State traveling west to the West Coast to play USC, Stanford at number 11 Notre Dame, Cal at number 22 Pittsburgh, Purdue at number 23 Illinois, Arizona at 14 BYU, Mississippi State, God help them, traveling to Athens to play the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs, Florida and Tennessee. This game I had so much higher hopes for at the beginning of the season, but Florida and Billy Napier, if Florida gets crushed this week against Tennessee, definitely keep an eye on ESPN because Billy Napier might be out of a job there in Gainesville. Like ESPN College Game Day game of the week, number 2 Ohio State at number 3 Oregon. Another game to keep an eye on, number 9 Ole Miss at 13 LSU. The number 11 Iowa State Cyclones at West Virginia. 18 Kansas State at Colorado. Now, folks, I don't try to give my flowers to Colorado as much as I can, but Colorado, they're 4-1 on the season, 2-0 in the Big 12. They're making a push. If they walk away with a win against 18th ranked Kansas State, they have to break in the top 25, right? They have to. I don't want it to happen. Trust me, I'm the last person that wants that to happen, but I guess. Oh, and then Boise State and Hawaii to play at 11 o'clock Eastern. I will be long gone by that point. in Dreamland. Well, let's get this underway, folks. Let's get this on. Let's give it a spin. Here we go. First up on the College Shame Day Wheel Degenerate betting slip this week is, oh no, in the State Colorado game. I don't want to put money on the game. I don't want to do that, but I guess I have to do that. Do I hedge myself? No, we don't hedge ourselves here. And I'm not going to give you who I want to pick. I'm not even going to do it because we don't do that here at Shame Day. Second up, Mississippi State traveling to number 5 Georgia as a second game on the College Shame Day Wheel Degenerate betting slip. Let's keep it going, folks. Let's keep it going. Third, Iowa State. That's right. Let me put some money on the Cyclones. I love it. 11 Iowa State at West Virginia as the third pick on the parlay this week. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. I can already feel it. I'm really hoping I'm not going to have to eat some crow this week. Oh, and I guess I might have to stay up for this game, folks, because the fourth game on the betting slip this week is that Boise State, who are ranked 17th in the nation, against Hawaii. And let's just get this over with. Let's see who the fifth and final one's going to be. Are we going to have a third week in a row where we can have the Shame Day game of the week? Nope. Not this week. Stanford. Another one of these, long-touted rivalry games. The Stanford Cardinal traveling to the number 11 Notre Dame Fighting Irish as a fifth and final game on the Wheel Degenerate betting slip. Just to remind you all, I will not give you my winners or my picks right now here with you on Shame Day. The only place that you can find that is the official Instagram page at 323 College Shame Day. And you know what? While you're there, make sure to follow. Make sure to follow. Get that automatic entry for the monthly giveaway for a chance to win the $25 Fanatics gift card to grab your own brand spanking new game day gear. But to remind you of these 5 games for the Shame Day Wheel of Degenerate betting slip: Stanford at number 11 Notre Dame, Mississippi State at number 5 Georgia, 11 Iowa State at West Virginia, number 18 Kansas State at Colorado, and last but certainly not least, the number 17 Boise State at Hawaii. Again, folks, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all for tuning in to the 323 Network of Podcasts. We appreciate your support and passion for college football. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, not only at 323 College Shame Day, but also at 323 Read. Check out, Ricks versus Gricks. The latest episode of that is up and running wherever you can stream podcasts. That was a very, very fun show. Got off the rails a little bit, and we learned that Zoo likes to hedge all of his bets. And you know what? Maybe that's the angle that you want to take, but not here on Shame Day. Don't forget to subscribe and catch our latest episodes wherever podcasts can be found. But enjoy your Saturday, folks, with the slate of games. Until next time, embrace the shame, and thank you again for listening to the 323 Network.